Alright, what we got? What's going on? I'm BoredGamer. Let's do this. Ah, make my face appear. Hi. Do that. Hide my microphone off screen. Hopefully you can hear. Ooh. Hope you can hear me reasonably well. Hi. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm BoredGamer. I'm going to be talking about Star Citizen, or whatever you want to talk about, really, within Star Citizen words. Just ask a question in brackets, and then go right ahead asking about stuff. So, we're in September now. We're about to have the winner of the ship showdown. Ha! So it's going to be the Polaris. The Polaris will win. Unless 3,500 votes come in the next couple of hours for the Asgard, which I find unlikely. Possible. Unlikely. So, this time around, I haven't voted in some of the rounds and stuff. I've only voted for ships that I wanted to win at some point. Or I want to get in the top 4, as I should say. Draft, and I was like, well, I'm not going to vote for the Asgard just because the raft's not it. There's a Medivac, and I was like, well, vote for the Asgard. Razor, well, so interestingly, the Razor did win. I didn't really care about this Razor versus Gladiator, and then found the Corsair. Probably, the problem was there was two ships here I like. Probably should have voted for the Vulture there, but I think I would have preferred the Zeus Mark II over it. I didn't vote there again, and then Polaris, and I voted for Polaris in every round because I do think it is deserved of winning. You might disagree with me, and that's what the vote is for. I hope everyone's doing well. These 4 ships, the Asgard, the Gladiator, the Zeus Mark II, yes, I suppose Zeus Mark II in general, and the Polaris, all getting skins for them, and a flare item at Galactic Aerospace Expo in November. I look forward to that. And I were talking in the podcast, you can watch it later today if you want. Maybe there should be changes in different categories and capital ship category and stuff like that as well. Later on this week, we'll look at the news. We've got a common link coming out later, some new flair for RSI subs. And we've got monthly report on Wednesday. We've got Squadron 40 newsletter on Thursday. Cool. Always happy to see that. It's the road to CitizenCon at the moment. Because of that, a little bit of a drought. It's only 39 days away. So less than 6 weeks till CitizenCon. Super excited for it. It's going to be cool. I like the fact it's going to be a nice, concise 2 hours as well. Oh, Jeff's kiss. Might be going to a watch party for it. In fact, I'm planning to go this watch party, the National Space Center in Leicester. Very cool. CIG attended the watch party there. Some of my mates are sort of organising it and running it on Dispatch, and I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Very excited to see it. What else do we have? Apollo. We know the Apollo's coming 4.3.1. The Triage and the Medivac. Medivac has better armor and more missiles. The Onyx facilities are opening up. Final wave, final wing. Super excited for that. I do think there's going to be a boss fight. I also think there might be a Vandal, but that's an I reckon. Right. Hello. Hope everyone's doing well. Medical. How deep could we get? Trauma injuries, broken bones, punch wounds, tourniquets, infections, alien viruses, there's organ transplants. So, you'll definitely have tiers of injury which cover a lot of that, right? And you're about to have tiers of injury on each of your major locations of your body. I think there'll be missions and other things that are adjacent to medical gameplay. So yeah, infections and alien viruses and stuff like that. They'll be treatable as a mission sort of thing, right? That'll be happening to not you. They might be happening to you, but I think it's unlikely. And obviously, a lot of this stuff needs to be simplified and gamified to quite a big degree. But they'll keep on expanding out missions and events and that sort of stuff as well. But like a broken bone might be a tier 2 injury, or a fracture might be a tier 2 injury. An entirely removed arm, a destroyed location, not removed, but you know, mangled, that's a tier 1 injury. And I suppose you might have a like extreme fatigue, which would be potentially an infection, which would be chest, and a tier 3. Or something like that, right? So I don't expect there to be super in-depth gameplay behind medical gameplay beyond being able to treat a range of injuries, but relatively simply. Did the earliest backers get access to Squadron 42 chapters 2 and 3 in the early pages? The earlier backers got the basically chapter 2 free. So well, episode 2. So let me give a quick background to this. Squadron 42 gonna be a game. Yeah, AAA game standalone. And then you've got, they wanted to put in a mission pack as well, behind enemy lines, I think, which I believe effectively became episode 2, and then they went, we'll do episode 3 as well. So Squadron 42 episode 1, which is the game we're waiting for at the moment, and then 2 and 3, all effectively, I believe, standalone AAA games. In the same way that Wing Commander 1 and Wing Commander 2. Not exactly the same way, because it'll be using the same engine. What will be Squadron 42 full price on release? Do not know. It's a really interesting question, though. Are they going to go for the more $40 range, or is it going to be more $80 modern game price? Really interested to know. I think we're going to start to see pre-orders at CitizenCon this year for Squadron 42. They'll start selling it again. Squadron 42 has been not on sale for quite a while now. Yes, people that backed early got Squadron 42 as part of their pledge, and Squadron 42 episode 2, I believe, as well, the mission pack, which became episode 2. Hello, Tommy Ellie, Simon Wolf, all beautiful boys. You're all doing well, and other people as well. They're just people that got little logos by them. I go, say hello to more. Only polite, right? No, I like the question, what will Squadron 42 price be? We don't know. We'll probably find out at CitizenCon. Thank you very much for the kind words. I don't know how long I'll be streaming for, because I'm pretty tired and pretty busy today. I'm tired because I've started trying to do, by the end of next week, I want to be able to do, if possible, 100 burpees. And I've also been doing rucking, sort of intermittent walking, jogging, and with a rucksack on. I'm pretty sedentary, and I was like, I'm not too bad at dieting. I can actually have enough willpower to eat reasonably most of the time. Sometimes I fall off the wagon, but if I get a lot more exercise in, I think I'll feel a lot better. Now I'm over 40. Ugh. In my 20s when I started doing Star Citizen content. Tell them maternity suite, parent giving birth. And I get this notification. It's a good stream. Geldog, congratulations to your assumedly brother or sister Newly born? How many straight to flyable ships could be released during CitizenCon? Because so I think they'll sell 3 to 4, potentially with some variants. The thing is, they probably want to 2 to 4, I would say, because they're going to err on the side of caution a little bit, because it's going to be a lot of Squadron 42 focus, in my opinion. That's what I think, and I would expect them to want to save a lot of the cool stuff for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, like the Perseus and stuff like that, right? So I want a few ships being sold around then. What do you think the Javelin modules will be? That's a good question. There'll be a level of customization of the Javelin, probably in a similar-ish vein to the Idris, but I don't really know yet. Beyond one that is more lasery, one that is more torpedo-y, potentially just following on the same lines as the Idris if they do that. Sort of makes sense, right? I mean, they could just have a load of custom weapons, right? We know that there's likely going to be some more PDC choices and some bespoke choices turning up the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo for lots of different ships as well. It would be good and immersive if they called the injury what it is, not just the tier. Yep, so both, right? So it can be, this is your injury, and then in smaller text, it's a tier 3 injury and explain it. Right? Yeah, I agree with that. I think that might be more interesting. Is crafting tier 0 due to come in around November? No. It's not due to come then. They're working on crafting. We could see crafting by the end of the year to a degree, but there's no due date for it at all. Nor are we 100% expecting it. It is a possibility. Like, Nick systems a possibility as well. Things like that. And straight to flyable ships is the sales technique that CIG are using now. They're not really selling concepts anymore. You might see next year them sell the Battlecruiser, which would be their last concept sale. They probably the last concept sale. With the new medical gameplay, might we finally see those artificial limbs? Maybe. So, you're not going to see Death of a Spaceman stuff, I wouldn't expect. They might explain the future of that in a bit more detail and have steps to get there. It's possible that they could have some of this stuff done, but I'd expect it just to be a bit of a shake-up with medical gameplay. Probably that using a med bed, either respawning there or treating an injury, will use a resource, and if you don't have that resource, you can't spawn there or use it. And so sort of saw a sneak peek at the medical rechargey batteries or goo or whatever. That's what it looks like, and that's what I'm expecting. What was medical gameplay and polish slated for? Was it this month or CitizenCon? In September, as part of 4.3.1. Okay. So later this month is when we're expecting the Apollo to launch. Different things at CitizenCon. We don't really know what's happening at CitizenCon. We can take some educated guesses. How the Perseus has been revealed at CitizenCon this year. They might reveal it and show it. It should be released at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo in November. BoredGamer, I finally get to join live. One of my favourite Star Citizen creators. How on earth you do this every day is beyond me. Please know you're appreciated. Oh, that's very much appreciated. Thanks so much. That's genuinely lovely. So I quite like. So I also run a 3D printing company and a board game company, selling and retail and stuff, and I love being active and working. If I had loads of friends that didn't work during the day, I'd be doing more stuff with them. I'd be potentially working less. But because most of my mates have got 9 to 5 jobs, for the most part, or if it will work for me like Zin, then I want to work. When they're busy, I want to work. I want to generate income. I want to do things that I enjoy. And creating star sets and content is one of those things. And the fact that I'm relatively high on the content creator tier list, as it were, for it, just because of pedigree of I've just been here a long time, persistence, more than anything. Yeah, I like creating star sets and content, and I like creating the content that I like to consume, which is news content thrown at you, and then sometimes some opinion bits, and then deeper looks at certain things. Just sort of tracking the progress of the game. Yeah, been doing it since I was in my 20s, and now I'm in my 40s. Oof. I think I'm a better man for it as well. I've stopped like drinking now as well. Eventually, partly because of Bar Citizens. Like, I want to go to Bar Citizens. I don't want to get intoxicated at all at Bar Citizens, because I have I get pretty anxious, and I'm paranoid, and I'm bipolar. So if I'm a little bit inebriated and panic, I can have a very bad time. And the last Bar Citizen I went to, I had a bit of a panic attack while a little inebriated. I got it's unlikely to happen, and it wasn't like the end of the world, but it was not a comfortable thing to be in. And I went, oh, no, right, I just need to stop drinking, because I can help. That will help massively to not worry. Don't know, I just went off on a tangent. That's what you get with my podcasts, or whatever this is, a live stream, maybe, as sort of talk. Any info on the Ironclad? No, I would expect we will see some updates either at CitizenCon, but more likely at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. They are working on both versions of it at the moment. I don't really know 100% where we are with that, but we'll actually probably know some more information when we see the monthly report tomorrow. Yeah, so, did they get rid of the recovery drones for the Apollo? So, in the short term, at the very least, yes. They've said that there's room on the Apollo for drones if they put them in later. They might put them in later. They might put some form of drone in later, maybe not the medbed drones. We'll see what happens. As long as they can keep the spirit of the ship alive and it does its intended purpose for the most part, I'm going to be pretty happy. Do you think they'll reveal new ships, such as the Perseus? At CitizenCon, expect to see some new ships, but the Perseus will actually be being released, probably, at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Do you think Death of a Spaceman will affect people's choices of killing other players? So I think it will affect multiple things. So it will degrade ratings with different orgs and other factions. So, for example, if you've got someone that's quite high up on a pirate faction, and you're in Pyro and you are high up in a pirate faction, and you attack them and fight them, your rating might drop with the pirate faction that they were high up with. There might be loads of knock-on effects. Obviously, in more civilized zones such as Stanton, but more than that, sort of Sol or Terra or something, where they're like super secure. I think Death of a Spaceman killing another player will be devastating to killing another lawful player, will be devastating to your reputation. Maybe not permanently, but for a ridiculous period of time, potentially permanently. So there's loads of stuff they can do with Death of a Spaceman. And they don't have to have it as aggressive as they said originally, either. And I hope they don't, because I'd like it that there's just costs to death, and you have to... maybe your tomb doesn't die, but you need to pay to be ezed or whatever. You have medical insurance, and your character starts to, well, if you die a load of times, start spawning effectively with long-term tier 3 injuries until they can repair your DNA, things like that. But I mean, I'm not necessarily against the idea of, yeah, you died too many times, your character's actually dead, now you've got to make a new one, but you transfer most of your stuff with like a little bit of a death tax over to the new character. I'm sort of okay with that. But I think I prefer just if you die too quickly in succession or without medical insurance, you start to accrue longer-term injuries for longer and longer that will eventually be removed, or you can pay to have them removed. But they incentivize you not to die. Like prison, but with medicine. I think there'll be a couple of new secret ships and vehicles, right? The Raptor might be finished as well. What industrial-based ship are you most looking forward to in the next 6 to 12 months? Industrial. So I'm most excited about the Perseus at the moment. We know that they're hoping to put people on the planning merchantman in the latter half of next year. So we'll just wait and see. I'm not particularly excited for anything that's not combat ship at the moment. Well, quite excited about the Polo. That is a ship for Zin and I, for sure. Went to my second bar citizen this week. It was cool. I stayed the whole time and went to Victoria's party afterwards. Oh, fantastic, Somietti. I'm glad you were able to get out there and get it done. So, yeah, I know lots of people. I don't want to name names. I know other people that they suffer from social anxiety or other issues like ADHD and stuff, and some of them will actively go to events like that so that they know they can, and it helps build confidence for that, because it can be devastating, right? Awesome. I'm glad. Just the feeling of panic or anxiety or whatever can be pretty debilitating. Mine's incredibly mild and manageable for the most part. We'll be going to the UK Watch Party in Leicester. I am planning to at the National Space Centre. Zin and I are planning to. We're going to be talking about it more this week or next week, planning it out. How far do you think some gameplay loops are? Exploration, Bounty Hunting version 2. So a lot of these are going to be drip fed in. So there'll be more and more little elements of them turning up. And then eventually you go, well, actually, there is an exploration loop, and they've now put some more missions and science and scanning and radar and stuff, extra bits to it. So exploration is an interesting one because really that encompasses loads of other gameplay loops, which once they come online, then you have exploration. Bounty hunting, similar-ish, but obviously with bounty hunting, you need the bounty hunting offices to be complete, which are part of those military docks that all space stations have. Need the ability to stun and then use the cryopods. A lot of this stuff is being worked on now. Bounty hunting version 2 might not be too far away. The Odyssey does feel quite a bit away. Yes, I agree. Squadron 42's release should have more people then working, even more, working on Star Citizen and focusing a lot more on that. The year of playability really is so they can get Squadron 42 out the door and then bring all the Squadron 42 stuff over to Star Citizen, make it a load more playable, then get 1.0 out the door, which they're sort of planning to do from expectations of what Chris Roberts said by 2028. Star Citizen 1.0. And then there's a huge amount more they need to do after that. What surprises could we get for CitizenCon? You mentioned Nix. I think we'll see the Nix system. I think we're going to get Squadron 42 hard release date. I think we'll... what else? See a load of updates on things from last year's CitizenCon. Sort of the new... I mean, we could see other bosses and stuff beyond handworms. I think we might be seeing Vandal in game pretty soon. POG's funds have been on the up for months. Every month this year. Do you think September will follow the trend or drop? I think it'll be a relatively good September. Yeah. So I think by the end of this year, because of the way they're doing their mini events, monthly patch, and combining those two, they're able to make a huge amount more money. Right? There's a constant warming of Star Citizen, and so the hype doesn't really dry up. It's always fire, and that enables them to make a lot of money, along with some pretty big ships like the Idris was released, right, and stuff like that. So when they sell a wave of Idrises, people want them because they can fly them immediately. So I think they're going to hit over 125 million this year, potentially up to like 140 mil, which is like 30 million more than they've made in their best previous year. So that's where I think we are at the moment. Could be even more, especially if they allow you to pre-order Squadron 42 from CitizenCon, because I do think we'll see like a traditional advertising campaign then, stuff like that. So CitizenCon I think is going to be pretty big, because 2 hours, but it's going to be largely pre-recorded for CitizenCon Direct. I think you'll see some new ships and stuff like that as well. I wonder if the whole Death of a Spaceman will incentivize bank character accounts to avoid death tax. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff is similar to in Eve, right? Do you think the command module will also provide the tech for escape pods? Oh, yes, I do. That is a really good question. And also, I do think that. So it's a little bit different because the escape pod never has control of the parent ship, right? So the idea with the command modules is that they clip onto a ship and they transfer control of that base unit to the command module. With escape pods are more simple because they just go, I'm part of the main ship, the mothership, the carrier, whatever. I've been launched, and now I never need to become part of the carrier ship again. Well, assumedly, maybe you can put them back. How do you replace escape pod? I suppose you just go to rearm, repair, and fuel. Hang on. What if some of this hangar gameplay they've got planned for 4.3.1 is to do with escape pods? No, you put me off on a weird tangent now. And me thinking. With the adding of mothership style gameplay, carrier gameplay, yeah. Do you think ships like the Liberator, Crucible will be coming shortly after? Maybe not shortly after. I mean, they're working on them, right? I think it's some of the stuff they need for Squadron 42 effectively, and we've got these capital ships in game now, and we can have a load of gameplay. We have carriers operating as carriers, and you can go back to their hangars and rearm, repair, and refuel. And the command module, yeah, it's talked about. Do you expect the Caterpillar command modules and cargo trailers to be interchangeable with real-world tractor-like trailers? Yes. The command modules should both be switchable between whatever Caterpillar. That's what you're saying. And the central modules should be able to be changed at specialist facilities than the other Caterpillar. Neat idea, of course. The cutlass owners are screwed either way. Or ejections. Well, real men don't need escape pods. That's what they say. They're also idiots. I love Drake. Crusader is my favourite manufacturer of those. Hello. Oh, thank you very much for the kind words. We appreciate it. Which ships do you think will be getting? Oh, Pirate Week skins. They'll sell all of the previous ones for sure. Let's look at last year's Pirate Week. So I've got the M50 Mantis. Is that? Got the X-wing, and then we've got the Vulture. Got the Caterpillar and Gladius pirate skins from when you complete Pirate Swarm. Last year they ran Blockade Runner. Had this map Loon riddle map. It's now the RSI X-Wing. Oh, that's what we're calling it. Unless its wings are folded back. It's a good question. What other ships and vehicles? I mean, they've got big ships as well now, like Polaris and Idris. I'd like to see a Polaris and an Idris skin. Why not? Give me some capital ships this time around. Probably see more for the industrial ones as well. But, I mean, any multi-role cargo ship works really well as a pirate ship, right? For stealing the loot after you attack. I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough. Any news on the Pioneer? They are working on it. It is going through a longer than normal white box phase because of the complexity of it. Crafting Soylent Green would be cool, especially if you can do it out of the corpses of enemies. There might be an element of that. There might be things that you can do to make monies and turn bodies into meat. Maybe. I think that's quite possible. Obviously, we've seen the locations around Pyro where that might be implied as well. Right, bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to get some water. A quick bio. Hi. Yeah, so I was just talking about last year's Pirate Week. And comparing it to what we might see this year. Yes, it is 2025. 29.55. Thank you very much for the comments. Appreciate it. yeah, I'd expect that skate pods literally just can detach from the parent vehicle as soon as they've been launched. They're no longer part of it, or can reattach them by repairing the parent vehicle, and then it will restock them like a missile. Question mark. But when you play, what do you go to roles? Roles. Well, it depends what's new. So typically with Star Citizen stuff, I want to try out the new thing. I play in Ivocadi, I play in the PTU more than I play in the live builds. For the most part, it depends on bits and bobs. Like the ST facilities, the live build are actually significantly better. So I like to try the new stuff. My go-to sort of stuff to do is I want to do medical missions where we evac people, we get down people, get them back up, and then sort of peel them, get them back out there. That would be the ideal gameplay for me. Well, I say ideal. I mean, I'm very much an industrial player with I want to do base building and that sort of stuff. I mean, I'll do a bit of everything. I like a bit of FPS. I like a bit of ship combat. I'm guessing Ironclad for next Fleet Week. Yeah, quite possibly. We'll have to see. I'll certainly see updates before then. But ship-wise, my favourite ship is the Mechrystarina. I often fly around in like a Cutlass Blue or Cutlass Red. I'll probably be flying around a lot in the Apollo soon. Oh, if I'm playing a fighter, I'll fly an F8. I like the F8. How do you think they'll do an escape pod? Well, I suspect it'll be just a little tiny ship, effectively. Will they give them quantum drives? That's an interesting one. Or are you just escape pod, and then technically you can respawn safely? Maybe it's something like that. And they then generate a mission for someone to come and rescue you as well. You can respawn if you want, safely. Star Citizen cannibalism have knock-on effects like Daisy does. It'll be fine. Maybe it will affect reputation, though. Do you know any tricks to using SOBI tracker, mounting visibility, etc.? Just scooped up with your code last week. Make sure your room is bright enough. Brighter light, I find, the better. Just mount it in a sensible place. Put in a little bit of work because they've got the head acceleration and stuff. So tweaking it a bit is always worthwhile, and you might continue to tweak it over a couple of weeks. So you use it for loads of different things as well. So you can use it for aiming. I like to be able to use it to be able to turn around, so I can turn my head like that and look that way. It will allow me to look over my shoulder a bit better. It gives you really nice cockpit visibility. Any word on the Restra lately? No, I've not heard anything new on that ship for ages. In my opinion, escape pods should have a limited quantum fuel. I like that sort of idea. Wait, they would, right? Because they'd have a very limited amount of quantum fuel if they decided to give them quantum jump. Then a lot of people would be arguing, why don't parasite ships have quantum drives as well if they can make them that small? Yeah, one shot quantum to the nearest station or base would be nice. Yeah, that sort of thing I think could work. Is there somewhere where we can leave some questions for you to ask for CitizenCon watch parties and stuff like that? Yes. You can get me at contact@boredgamer.co.uk. Just send me a list there, or on my Discord. Just message me on my Discord. I'll have something more official up in the near future, but feel free to message me on Discord or whatever. me add it to my list of things sooner rather than later. Okay. Right. Hello, hello. Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. Yeah, you'd want a escape pod to get you to safety, right? A safety pod, um, before putting out a signal that could potentially be intercepted, right? Like, yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, I'm super excited for CitizenCon this year. I'm excited for 4.3.1, like getting the Apollo out and them giving us those 6 modules, well, 2 of each of the 3, with the ship as well. Ah, thank you very much. You made a game pledge years ago, and we got a copy of Squadron 42. Do we still have that copy? Because I can't see it in my account. So, if you pledged ages ago and you've still got that original pledge, it should say Squadron 42 in there. So, there you go, check one of mine. We go check one of my earlier pledges. So, yeah, it shouldn't have been removed for any reason. The early pledges came with it, and then you could bolt it on later with the other pledges. Right, let me, for example, let me show you this. Not give any. So you will see Squadron 42 digital download. So this is a starter pack that was bought in 2015, upgraded to a Mustang app or whatever, but it's relevant. So you get Squadron 42 digital download and Star Citizen. So that's game access, game package. That is Squadron 42 episode 1. Potentially, that is Squadron 42 episode 2 as well, maybe. I'm not sure if that shows differently or when they stopped doing that. Your pledge should show that in the also contains. Kind of scary if you have to buy it again. You shouldn't have to buy it again, but if you've melted an old pledge, you might have lost it. If you upgraded the pledge, you'll still keep it. That's fine upgrading. You'll keep the base, all the stuff for the base pledge. Admiral Erasmus, I can't say your name. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work. Always happy to see your content pop up. Always happy to see money pop up. Thank you very much. Legend. Star. Thank you very much. Genuinely appreciate it. We always add 24 months to those numbers. What we like. Last CitizenCon, they said base building was 12 to 18 months. So, we could see very early crafting and base building soon-ish. The base building, they want to release Star Citizen 1.0 by the end of 2028. Probably what they're going to try and do, with a lot of those features coming well before that. Got to Concierge in time. You got Squadron 42 Episode 1 added to your account. Oh, yeah. Please make me want to pronounce that as Erasmus. Maybe it is Erasmus. Admiral Erasmus. How far out is base building? I feel that will change the focus of the game hugely. Economy updates, industrial updates, base building updates, all that sort of stuff. Crafting, research, all super important and big right? It's coming probably over the next couple of years. I don't think it's all going to just come at once. You'll see updates to Citizen Con almost certainly. With engineering gameplay, do you think it will actually affect solo capital ship users, or will people just self-destruct it and move on? There'll be reasons not to self-destruct them for sure, I would expect, because I suppose that you can recapture them, and there might be missions generated to recapture them. So, I think if you can set a self-destruct like that, there should be ways of disabling the self-destruct, potentially even with e-war remotely. Have you been playing other games lately? Yes, so I play a load of other stuff. Played some Peak yesterday with the new biome. Quite enjoy Peak occasionally. I've been playing lots of things like The Bazaar, sort of auto battlers and asymmetric PvP games. Lots of roguelikes and roguelites. Hard and deck builders. Sort of one of the games I like to play. Might get back into the finals again. If some of the cheating situation's been addressed, because I really like finals. But I always find that most of the games I like that are FPSs get ruined by cheaters. Zin and I are playing Rift Breaker, which is sort of like a mixture of you're a little mech in like a StarCraft-esque view, and you're building a base to defend against aliens on a planet you're trying to colonize. Quite good fun. A bit little like Factorio, but more combatty. You think capital ships or ships in general will have longer and longer claim times the more you claim a ship? I hope so. That makes sense because they have to produce them in game, right? One of the reasons they sell Idrises in waves at the moment and stuff is to sort of simulate the amount of those ships that would be in game based on population of the player base, but also that they don't come out of thin air, but they do come out of thin air at the moment. But in the future, they'll be built from shipyards or whatever. There'll be a limited amount, and people reclaiming them might have to adhere to that limited amount. But yeah, I mean, there'll be lots of reasons not to self-destruct, I'm hoping. I mean, I think maybe self-destruct module would need to be a module you fitted to your computer. So actually go, well, it takes up some slots and it costs some money. It uses energy. So do you really want to do it? What do we get for the Polaris winning? So the top 4 ships, they get a skin and a piece of flair anyway. I think the winner also gets a pennant, a little flag for everyone, right? 7 to be in with June. Love the game, but cheating, exploiting, pushing me away. Indeed. I find that with a lot of games, unfortunately. Have you played No Man's Sky? Not for a while. I will jump back in with the Voyages. Voyages? The new expansion, the new update. That looks cool. Give me customizable Corvettes, multi-crew experience, multiplayer missions. Cool. Sounds like it's got a lot of cool stuff. For me, I really, really like what they've done with No Man's Sky because I hated it when they first launched it because they lied about it. They lied about what was in it and how ready it was. But then they sat down and just worked on their game and gave a load of free updates and got it into a really good state and to a state where they put in what they promised. And I think that's really cool. Tips and tricks for getting hull limited ships. So, you'll be able to buy all these things in game. You'll be able to build them all in game, things like that. So bear that in mind. So one of the tips and tricks is don't fret about it. You'll be able to get them somehow. There's no real tips for getting them beyond being there at the right time and being a bit lucky about it. Having the ship in your basket. So often I'd find when trying to get a limited hull ship, I'd be able to get it in my basket, but not be able to check out in time before it run out of stock. But having it in your basket means that next time they release a wave, bam, you can just continue typically. But just make sure you've got your address set properly, you've got your payment details in there properly, all ready to go. So you go, bup, in as few as clicks as possible, get it out. Some people are using bots, some people are using exploits to get this sort of stuff, selling their positions in queue and or in waves. Don't adhere to that. Just and at the end of the day, always feel free to. I would put out a message to customer service if I had to. I was like, look, I'm trying to get this ship. Got it in my basket. I tried like 8 times to try and cash it out. Wouldn't cash out. Can you sort me out with one? They might. I don't know. The problem is that I'm in two minds. I understand that Star Citizen needs to be funded, and I'm kind of okay with people doing what they want with their own money. Go ahead. I do find some of it a bit predatory monetization when it comes to big purchases, because you don't need the ships. You can get them and go. And a lot of people have no, I need it. Sort of, oh, I really want it. They get the almost the gambling vibe from it, because I do. And I can only talk from my experience. And my main tip is you don't need to buy them with room, so don't fret about it too much. No Man's Sky is amazing solo and catch up. So I only really like multiplayer sort of experiences when it comes to that kind of game, but I'm glad that they've built a lot more into that. No Man's Sky feels way too cartoony for me. So yeah, but I mean, it's very vivid, and it is more arcadey, sure. But a lot of people are going to enjoy that sort of quick arcadey experience with less risk. There's going to be a high level of loss in Star Citizen. It's an important driving factor for the economy, but running your ships and that sort of stuff is important, right? Is there a way to get Squadron 42 right now on the grey market? You might be able to buy it with someone else effectively gifting you the ship, but I'd see what you're. I wouldn't expect you to save any money on that. I expect the most people that were selling those kind of packages would be quite expensive. Might just be better to wait for it to be actually pre-orderable. I don't know how much Squadron 42 is going to be as well. So yeah, you potentially could go to the grey market if you wanted, but if I'd recommend that. Also, you might be able to unmelt a previous pledge. I'm not sure if that will also unmelt Squadron 42 with it, if it came with it in the first place. You can, at your own risk, and go to those third party sales places. The grey market stuff obviously not supported by CIG. I don't think it's explicitly against terms of service, although they could change their mind at that at any time, and I don't 100% know. It is grey area, grey market, that you are certainly not supported if something goes wrong. So just bear that in mind. You are taking on all of the risk. Any news on remote C4-like devices? No. I suppose the closest thing we have are the mining debris, right? The mining gadgets. I want to see them in game. I want to see some C5 in game. Yeah, that's a C4 2.0. Yeah, okay. No, I like that idea. I think we sort of need that kind of stuff, right? And we'll get gadgets, gizmos, and remote weapons and things as well. For sure. Right. I can dash off. I'm really hungry, but I'm on a diet. I'm going to dash. I'm going to get the podcast out. I've got an item recovery, sort of where we are with it and the future of that video coming out today or tomorrow as well. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. Go see who else is streaming on Twitch. Well, Mike is playing E. Good for him. Send you over to Moist Noodle. I love the boy. Give him some love. Oh. Bam. Is that going to work? Probably. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Please check out the rest of my channel for loads of Star Citizen stuff. If you're using any of those third-party things, just make sure you fully understand them, read as much as you can about them, use trusted third parties and things like that as much as possible. Yeah, you are putting all the risk on yourself. Just go into it understanding that. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Genuinely appreciated. I'm looking forward to Alpha 4.3.1 and CitizenCon, and